We on the last time we played them, we actually had a 5-day road trip and we played Tulane first, and that kind of started our road trip off pretty bad. We didn't show any fight. And at ECU, we kind of did the same thing. We just didn't show any fight. Didn't just just didn't have it that game. Honestly, just didn't come out strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a lot more fight, and then credit to the coaching staff. They made some adjustments. Some things they saw in game one that they thought we could capitalize on in game two. And Coach Crow had a great scout, had a great game plan, and I feel like we just came out and executed.
So how much of your prep for today was looking back at the old one as opposed to just making adjustments based on your last time out on the floor?
Probably quite a bit. We watched a lot of clips from the last time we played them. A lot of the actions they ran, a lot of the ISOs, elbow ISOs that they run. And then anytime they got in the post, we trapped them tonight, and we were pretty successful trapping them, forcing them to turn the ball over. So we did those things better than we did in the first matchup.
Rebounds seemed like you guys hit the glass maybe the hardest you have all season. I think they had a +2. It was 42 to 29 tonight. Just how big of an emphasis was that going into it, or is that just something that kind of as the game continued, you guys were able to take advantage of that?
Well, me and Sam are both pretty good rebounders, so we're going all the time. It's just today they just fell in our hand. I'll say we just really, I feel like our intensity was up. Me and him and our whole team focusing on rebounding is a focus every game for us. So I feel like we just capitalized on that today.
Zurich Phelps has his first career double-double, career high in assists.
Whew.
And
hey, now.
I think he got in the top 10 for single-season steals.
Oh.
Obviously, he's been a scorer ever since you guys have played with him, but where have you seen the biggest growth in his game since you joined him at the beginning of the year?
I mean, I've seen a huge growth in him. Tonight especially, I was really excited for him. You can probably see about a minute left in the game. I turned to the bench and I yelled his name and I started clapping because he was probably down on himself, missing free throws and stuff like that down the stretch. But I looked up and saw he had 10 assists. So, when he's playing like that, he can be a tough guy to cover. He's making the right plays but still being aggressive. And then I think another huge improvement he's made is, when guys correct each other. He's been all ears. He's been locked in. No matter if things are going good or bad, he's been locked in. So he's made a huge improvement.
Talked last game about you started strong offensively. Sam had that nice run at the end. Didn't really. And you talked about that lull. Didn't seem like there was much of a lull in your offense today. Just what does it mean to hit that 20-point mark to feel like you really impacted the game in a real positive way tonight?
I mean, it's good. I just want to go out there and play aggressive. The game plan was a little different for me personally. So I feel like I wasn't able to, facilitate and make plays for some of my teammates just based off the matchup and kind of how I was playing offensively, more cutting and when I was off the ball and ball screens and being a snap pass guy that's making plays for others and stuff like that. So, whatever the coaches ask me to do, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Overall, the ball movement seemed more fluid today. Has that been a primary area of focus lately, or is that just the evolution of your team, the way it's grown over the course of the season?
I'd say it's more just how we're growing as a team. We're just learning each other more and more every day. Just little stuff like, the back door, I wanted to hear, or the skip pass, seeing each other, just knowing where we're going to be at. I just think we're getting a better feel for each other.
Yeah, for sure. And then even with me and Efe, I feel like our connection's grown a lot from the beginning of the year. Early in the season, we're still trying to figure out, where he wants the ball and stuff like that. And I think we had one turnover tonight on a post feed. That was the first time that happened in a long time between us two. So I'm starting to figure out where he wants the ball and stuff like that because, we definitely got to get the ball into him because, not too many guys in the country that can guard him on the low block.
Obviously, wins have been hard to come by this season. Was getting to the 10-win mark, was that ever talked about as any kind of goal or anything? And does that mean anything, or is it just another game with a handful left?
Man, at this point, we're not. I don't feel like we're looking at the the record anymore. We're just focused on being the best team that we can be, because we know when we come out here and we have energy and we're sharing the ball, like, man, it's tough to guard us. I feel like we can compete with anybody. So, I mean, as long as we focus on that and not focus on the other stuff, I feel like when you focus on the other stuff, you start to hear outside noise. You know, we're just really trying to keep it with us and just progress every single day. And I think that's the good thing for us. I think that's good for us, for sure.
After the Houston game, Coach Lanier said that although you guys, it was closer than the first meeting, he said he thought there was more that you guys had in you in that game. Did he discuss that prior to today's game, or did he rely on guys like you and Zach and the other veterans to sort of try to pull more effort, more fight out of the team than maybe you had last time out?
I wouldn't say so. I think it was just a team thing. We don't put it on one guy or two guys to go out there and win the game for us. We just, like I said, if we as a unit come out and we're all on the same page and we all know, we're on level 5 energy and we're ready to play defense and ready to rebound, hit guys, like, it's not really anything another team can do with us. So I say it was more of a team effort for sure this time around.
Coach has talked all year about the kills that he wants from you guys, the 3 straight stops, and you won by, 18 or something today? And I don't think you had a scoring run of more than 6 points. Is that a result of those kills on the defensive end that got you where you needed to be?
Probably. I don't know how many kills we had in the game. There's definitely a better defensive effort this time around. Obviously still some things we got to clean up, and there's always room for growth. But, anytime, you may be struggling to score for a little bit, but you can go down and get stops. That's going to help you.
The good thing about, doing this stuff with you guys after the games is that you're here all the time, so you've seen, us throughout the year, and so you can relate to when I say I'm proud of Sam, I'm proud of the group, the way they seem to continue to stick with it and come in and fight. And, we were really concerned about this team coming in, about their ability to rebound, and we only gave up 7 offensive rebounds in the game, 3 in the first half, and then for us to get 17 of those, Sam created 3 offensive rebounding opportunities just off free throws. When you're rebounding on free throw situations, you're really working hard, and so really proud of him and Efe and all of these guys, and I'm just going to say this because I know he's going to see it. Zurich missing 7 free throws is such a mental thing for him, and I was busting his chops after the game because I actually was going to leave him in the game late with the hope that he would get another chance, but we're not going to let it become a mental thing for him, and we talked about it in front of the team, and it's kind of like this elephant in there, you know what I mean? So he had 10 assists in the game, and just really, really proud of all of these guys, and I think we're getting better right now, and I like that.
Zurich's assists were career high, and he had his first career double-double, and I know you mentioned he's frustrated with free throws, but where have you seen the most development or growth in Zurich beyond just being a scorer since you've started working with him?
Poise. We earlier in the year, I put a thing up on the board, the definition of emotional intelligence, and then I texted to all of those guys, and I want them to understand it so that when we develop it, they'll know what they're doing. That poise, that's what that is. And you could see in real time the game's starting to slow down for him, and less situations where he's overly emotional and allowing that to affect the decisions he makes on the court. And so I think that's where his biggest growth has been, and as long as you're not walking up to the free throw line, he's a cool customer. So once we get that fixed, then he's going to be a real problem.
You talked about rebounds. To be plus 13, to score 20 second chance points off offensive rebounds. How much does that just change the dynamic of a game when you're getting that many more shots, especially when you're shooting the ball as well as you were tonight, and not giving up those opportunities for that?
Yeah, and 19 turnovers. that we forced as well. The problem was we gave it back to them 14 times ourselves. But the fact that we plus 10 on offensive rebounds, plus on the assisted turnover deal, and we assisted on 18 field goals. That's a great number. So we hit a lot of marks. And you had guys that asked us as we were going through the year, like, how do you get tougher? There isn't one thing that you do on a given day or a given week. It's a byproduct of the way you do things over time. And I think this is a team that's been playing well and playing really hard. And so we needed a level of toughness, and we exhibited some of that. We still got a ways to go, but Sam and Efe spearheaded that.
You mentioned after the Houston game that although it was closer than the first meeting, you thought maybe your team had left a little out in terms of, I don't know, the effort of the fight. What did you think of it today, and how did you, I mean, it sort of piggybacks off of what you just said, but how did you draw that effort out today?
Well, if you think about the Houston game, we had 11 turnovers versus the enormous amount of live ball turnovers and critical turnovers we had the first game. And in that game, we gave up 21 offensive rebounds versus, I think maybe they had 11 or so offensive rebounds. It wasn't the dominant. And so we gave ourselves a chance in that regard, but we didn't make enough plays, make enough shots to kind of put some game pressure there. Tonight, we made some shots. We scored 88 points. We did a good job keeping them off the glass. We had our share of turnovers, but we forced a number of them. But in between that, we made the ball go in the basket, and we made some plays, and we assisted 18 times. But you can't assist if the ball doesn't go in. So you got, skill-wise, you got to be able to make some plays.
Does reaching the 10-win mark mean anything
No.
for you for this group, or is it just about?
No, listen, it's never been about a number. It's about the group, right? I think somewhere along the line, it was pretty obvious that we're not going to get an at-large bid, right? We're in a league that I don't know if we're a multi-bid league right now. I don't know how that's going to play out. Houston is definitely going to be up there on the 1 or 2 line. And, Memphis will have a chance maybe. I don't know. I don't follow like Joe Lenardi anymore. Now that I'm a head coach, I used to be all over that stuff, but I don't know. But if we had 17 or 18, like we're still not getting an at-large bid, right? So it's more about how much better can we get each day and how much better can we play each game, and just worrying about that and nothing else. And if whatever that number turns out to be, then so be it, but we still got to keep moving the needle.
2 of your guys off the bench, Keon and Ricardo, had at least 10 minutes. But other than that, you leaned very heavily on your first 5 starters. Yeah. Are you intentionally leaning more on them as the season winds down and you prepare for postseason?
No, I'm just searching for contributions, and I did lean on them, but I wasn't intentional about that. As far as the reserves go, I'm searching game to game. Who's going to give us something? And the more they give us, the more they play them. I should have put Ricardo in the first half. I thought about doing that. Emery went in there early because he generally, from a scouting standpoint, knows exactly what the plan is and does his job. He's not as offensive-minded or oriented in the way that Steph or Ricardo is. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. And I said at halftime to Ricardo, I'm going to give you a chance, so you need to make sure you're ready, and he was.
How big when you're talking about growth and you're talking about progression of a team, to say, okay, this was a close loss that maybe we let get away there, to come in here and win by 16. Now your next one's going to be a close win here, going on the road. Do you look at those when you got these, return game matchups to kind of judge some of that growth and progress of this group?
You certainly examine what happened in the game, what you did well, and you try to anticipate what the adjustments will be for them, and we have to make our share of those as we go into the game. And depending on how long ago you played an opponent, a lot of things can change between now and then. They might have an injury. They might have a guy back from an injury. They might be running some different concepts. You just have to. But we all know that one game doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the outcome of the next one, right? So it was a close game. If we played East Carolina again, it's going to be a different game, And so that is generally the case, except for Wichita State, I guess. But in general, yeah, you're gonna examine all of those factors, but the games don't generally play out exactly the way the first time.
Samuel and Efe combined for 38 points, but more than that, 17 for 20 shooting between the two of them. If you get that kind of efficiency, do you feel like you can compete with almost anyone?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are good players. Like there was a time, I'll say this because this is being recorded, right? We were playing, it was after a game, and Sam said to me in a really honest, vulnerable moment that it was his fault we were losing these games. He meant that. And I said, no, it don't work like that, man. You don't get to do that. I get to do that. You don't get to do that. And he says, but coach, I can do so much more. And if I play the way I'm capable of playing, it would help the team so much. And I'm holding the team back. That's what he was going through emotionally at a time during the year. And to see him stay with it and make the growth that he's made as a communicator and as a teammate, and now the production on the court, is back to your question. 10 wins, 12 wins, 20 wins. Man, I'm more proud of that stuff than I am about anything else, because that growth is so critical to what we do and the direction we want to take things. And he's a big part of that. And so, again, couldn't be more proud.
We talk about his points, but he also had 4 steals, and he helped hold Brandon Johnson, who I think had 27 in the first meeting, to 9 points. How underrated is Sam on the defensive end?
If you're asking me how capable he is, he can do it at an NBA level. He's a seriously talented defensive guy. And when he's locked in, he's terrific. Same thing with Zurich. Zurich, Jalen, and Sam are talented defensive athletes. But they haven't fully bought into that aspect of the game in such a way that they stand out the way you're asking now. You're asking that question because of the job he did tonight. But he had some lapses now that stand out, and the reality is he can be terrific at it. And we got 3 guys that can be defensive difference makers, and they haven't always bought into that.